The first thing I want to do is I want to put an effect on this thing. Where is the effect? Here it is. I only have a few of them, so what's this one? That's not too bad. Alright, so I have to hold the phone close because my phone is broken. Um, I have this headset on that has a microphone built into it, but there's no place to plug a microphone into my phone. So anyway, I'm still working on what I'm working on, which is what I know about. But you know, back in the '80s when I used to travel around, I used to think about bad things, but I never thought I would have to think about my sort of brother. I don't really consider him a brother. He's more of an asshole. Um, Now what's bothering me right now at this present time? You know how badly he treats me when I'm shutting his door and I'm being kind, gentle, loving, nice, and trying to get along with him. You know what he says to me? Shut the fuck up and close my fucking door. Or shut the fuck up. I don't know if he needs to be punching his fucking mouth or what the fuck his problem is, but I don't like people like that. It's like you're sitting in his stupid fucking car. He's mistreating the shit out of me. Talking to me like, don't throw your coffee. Drink your coffee outside. Don't drink your coffee in the car. Everything you have to do outside. He gives me a spinach pie, and he's such a fucking asshole. He bosses me around. He go, you have to go throw out your wrapper the garbage cans over there. And then he watches my legs walk over there. I mean, don't let people abuse you. It's not going to get you anywhere in life. They think you're a fucking asshole when you listen to them. He loves making people jump through hoops. And when I tell my brother that he likes to make people jump through hoops, can you guys, oh yeah, serial killer. Can you guys hear me? Anyway, I'm talking about my brother. Yes, my brother is a serial killer, not me. I look like a serial killer, but I'm not. Um, anyway, so I was very abused by my father when I was growing up, and now my brother's doing it. Thank you. And then my sister does it too. But anyway, so I'm just trying to share with you not to let people be narcissistically hateful to you because even though I'm a guy, you think that people won't do it. But when you tolerate it, they think it's okay. Now, why am I talking about it? I studied psychology, okay? So this isn't like a topic for me that I'm making like I don't have any knowledge of. I studied it for a long time, and so I'm just trying to help other people not be in the same situation that I am in because I just let it happen. I let things happen to try to get, when you try to get along with someone, I know there's people out there that have abusive relationships and they're powerless and the person they're in a relationship with is a narcissist. They're basically dead inside and they have the mindset of a 5-year old. I was in the relationship, my first marriage with Mia was very good. I got along with her really well. And then when she used to hang out with her old boyfriend a lot. And I didn't mind because I'm an open-minded person. And I got along with her people better when I let her, because she was like her best friend. And she would go places with him. And they went to art school together. But that led into the destruction of her meeting she met his friends, and she started hanging out with them, and then some of her art friends didn't like me because I was a biker type, and I used to drive like a muscle car, and I don't know. I'm not the most liked person. I know that, but it's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it doesn't matter what you are or what race you are. People lie, they abuse you, and people who are narcissistic try to make you into the bad person. Now, I can just be very precise. I studied in school. What did I study in college? I studied about my degree is actually has to do with psychology and the understanding of different races and how it is portrayed in the world and how people are judgmental. Because I used to travel around as a hippie, and people treated me like garbage, and how the not the public, but the American society is divided between blacks, whites, and Spanish people. This is what I studied in college, and how a certain amount of Spanish people are in jail, and a certain amount of black people are in jail, and the percentage of white people in jail, and the crimes that they commit. And I studied art, I studied guitar, and I studied psychology, and I was predominant in psychology. And so the narcissistic stuff I studied later, but the regular psychology I studied in college. But I studied other psychology things, and I studied numerology and astrology. So I've been into this for a long time. But the only thing I'm saying now is just pay attention to the little things that people say. Don't necessarily think you're in a relationship if somebody is cursing at you under their breath. Just remember what I'm saying to you, because I notice when I'm getting out of my brother's car, when I'm being nice to him, and I'm just trying not. He doesn't want me. He makes up all these goddamn lies. He says like I slam his door, and as I'm closing his door softly and gently, so I don't slam it, fucking yelling at me, saying shut the fucking door already. And if I say something to him like anything, it doesn't matter what I say. I could say 1 + 1 is 2. He doesn't listen to anything I say, and what you hear coming out of his human body is shut the fuck up. That's how my brother speaks to me. And am I supposed to consider him to be my brother? You know? And so what is the act of narcissism? Narcissistic people try to make you ashamed that you won't say anything to anyone else. That's the thing that a bully, that's the thing basically a bully does. When a bully bullies you, they always say, right? They say, don't tell anyone. That's what a narcissist does. I hate fucking bullies. You know what my brother did to me today? I was just walking around alone today because I have to walk about a minimum of 2 miles per day to feel normal. I do my 2 miles today by 4 a.m. I already did it. I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I go out and I feed stray alley cats, and then by the time I get home, I've done at least 1 mile. And so last night, for some odd reason, I don't know why. Don't ask me. I've never done 2 miles before because it's so boring. But anyway, later on that day, I did another mile. Why? Why would I do another mile? Because my brother hates me so much. He keeps lying to me and telling me that I don't belong in society and that I can't go around with people around because they're going to scratch his car. Does that make any sense to you? He tells me, this is what he says to me on the street. He doesn't say any words. He doesn't talk to me about shopping or I'll see you later. He doesn't say, hey, do you want to go get some pizza? You know what my brother says to me? He just doesn't say anything. He just hides behind a tree. He puts a paper in front of his face. He looks at me. He has this like wry smile on his face, like he's completely out of his fucking mind. He puts a paper over his face. He looks at me and he goes, you know that TV show, the one King of Queens? And he goes, huh? That's not even a sentence. Now remember, I forgot to tell you, I studied English and poetry and literature and all that stuff. I was going to be an English teacher. So then he goes, huh? I'm like, he doesn't want to use any kind of format of words with me so that he can control me. Right? Okay, so basically like this. He holds a paper in front of his face, and like a stupid fucking asshole, I'm telling him, because I have this 10 pound, I have a belief in honesty, because I used to live out west with some American Indian studies, and I adopted their culture, one of their cultures of religion. I've adopted other cultures of religion, and a religion of honesty, and being like American Indian of your word is your power. So I was standing in the street holding one of those kettle weights, and it only weighs 10 pounds. I could show you one day, but it's in the car. And then I use it for like martial arts exercises. Standing in the street, it helps me straighten out my back. And I just use it for like different, just in one hand lift, and then I switch it, and it just helps my back snap back into place. And I always, when I used to lift heavier weights, I always used to be mad at myself that I couldn't do those specific, like, weird movements. I like doing those weird movements better than lifting heavy weights. They don't pump up your muscles, but it's more like a yoga, okay? So because I'm doing walking exercises, I'm using light weights. So then anyway, I stand there in the middle of the street because I don't want to accidentally hit a car. I don't want to bump a car with a 10-pound kettle weight. So the street is like 3 extra wide. So then, okay, so what am I complaining about? Am I complaining, or am I telling you a story? I shouldn't say complaining, because now I'm taking the side of my brother who hates me. I'm not complaining. I'm telling you what he did to me. So he didn't do this to me, but when I see him, I end up opening up to him, and he uses it against me. So then I sound like I'm complaining to him, but I'm not. I wasn't complaining. So basically, every car that went by and saw me standing in the street lifting weights was fine with me, and that meant a lot to me. So because the way my brother hates me so much, I mean a lot, I mean more than you can ever imagine, in the category of a serial killer that he wants me to die and perish. My brother hates me so much. He hates the shit out of me. He makes fun out of me. He laughs in my face. He thinks I'm an asshole. And he tries to get elderly women to date me because he hates me and he wants to ruin my life. He goes, hey, look at that girl over there. I'll say stupid things to me like, would you fuck her for $1 million? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to like not put anyone down. I'm like, yeah, sure, for $1 million. He's so much fucking hateful. And then, okay, so what happened? Every car, every car that went by didn't look at me when I was standing in the middle of the street lifting weights, except for one car. And this one car gave me this dirty look. And when someone gives you a dirty look and you look away, that's when it bothers you. You know, sometimes if you have a correct stance, like now I'm talking about martial arts. And this is the same martial arts stance, eyes, and being how do you say this? Not aggressively, but martial arts is the practice of certain things. It's like the practice of being able to use body movements within a certain, they call it your circle, like within a certain distance that you're not doing boxing in martial arts. That's an art in itself. Boxing is another art. But martial arts, different styles of martial arts, you have a certain circle that you stand in. So now I'm talking only about eyes. This eyes things is one of the things you see in those Shaolin movies. They do things with their eyes. Martial artists do practice with their neck and loosening up their neck and their hips, and they also practice with their gaze. And so if somebody looks into your soul, when you get into a fight, you have either look into someone's stance or you look into their eyes. But if you look into their eyes, you lock up. But if you don't look into their eyes and they're looking into your eyes, you become a subdominant and they become dominant, and you can't see their hatred. When someone looks in your eyes, they're putting their hatred into you, whether it's their fear or that you're not seeing that they want to kill you or kick your ass. A true asshole will look into your eyes. But anyway, anyone who's a thug is going to look into your eyes in a fight. So anyway, if you're in a situation, now why am I saying this? Because my brother thinks he has control over what I look at. So if I'm in a situation or you're in a situation, every guy knows this. that if a guy looks into your eyes, and then I'm not going to finish that sentence, but what I'm trying to say to you is there's a certain stance when you get into a fight that makes that diminished because your stance has a lot to do with changing the procedure of someone looking into your eyes and you carrying that energy. It's what I'm talking about is carrying that energy with you. If somebody looks into your eyes, stares you out, and looks at you like they can kick your ass, even if they can't, or that somebody looks at you and you accidentally look away, and somebody looks into your eyes in the fight situation, and you look away and you don't think it's anything. Those are the situations where you collect the energy that you carry with you, where somebody's going to pick on you again and again and again and again and again, because one person picked on you. Everyone who's a fighter knows this. If the one person picks on you and gets away with it, then the next one and the next one, until you finally set one of them straight. Because for some reason it's all connected. And the only, what I was going to say to you, the only way you can diminish that, diminish the fight situation of someone looking in your eyes, is through stance. And stance doesn't necessarily mean facing them. It has a lot to do with not moving. You look away, but you still haven't moved your stance. So you always want to be in a relaxed stance that's not hurting yourself, hurting your legs. I mean, it happened to me today. That's why I accidentally looked, and somebody was looking at me like, kick your ass. Okay, so that wasn't the first time he did it to me today. He did it to me twice. He did it to me once when he pulled over and parked his car, and then he was in his car, and he did it to me once. And it wasn't on purpose. It just happened to live there. And I just happened to be standing there, and he just happened to, but he did it for a long time. He standing there for like literally like a while, but then he didn't have any like aggression towards me. He was with his kids. He came over. He was staring at me with his kids. I didn't have any aggression towards him. He was locked and loaded with his eyeballs on me for 5 minutes. And I didn't have any, I wasn't staring at him. And I just stayed in my stance, but I wasn't looking at him. He stopped looking at me and he left. But for some reason, he came back a second time and stopped his vehicle. And he parked there. And he was just doing alternate side parking. Had nothing to do with me. The first time probably had nothing to do with me. Okay, but then when he parked his car and he was leaving, he was looking at me and he didn't think I would catch him. The cat's looking at me. I looked at him. I looked away. And I looked at him again, and he was still looking at me. But then he walked away. Okay, so that didn't bother me because I never changed my stance. I also didn't lock eyes with him. I don't want to lock eyes with someone. Okay, so then back to my original story. What did bother me? Why did my brother pick on me? Because a car went by. I don't know if it was him or someone else because I wasn't paying attention. I was paying attention. Every car went by. Nobody was looking at me. I was totally okay with it. I wasn't in their way. And then this one car went by while I was doing my kettle exercises with a 10-pound weight, which is very light. It's like very dainty, very, very super, super light. I don't use it to lift weights. I don't do curls with it. I do something else with it. It's hard to explain. I use it like differently. It's hard to explain. It's more like a martial arts hand exercise because your arms need to be stretched. I use it for stretching, basically. But it helps me a lot. It cracks my back. And just the fact that I do it over and over again for like at least 14 minutes, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely not weightlifting. I don't lift heavy weights, but when I used to lift weights, I didn't lift heavy weights either. But 80 pounds is a lot heavier than 10 pounds. But it's not heavy. 10 pounds is light. Anyway, so this car went by, and he wasn't looking out the windshield. He's looking at me like I was a fucking asshole. And that somebody looks at you the wrong way, it brings out the, inside of you, like turn into like a monster inside. It's like when someone looks at you like that, you're just standing there minding your own business. Everyone else that went by nicely and they're looking at you like they want to kill you, and then they just keep going, and it bothered me so much. And I was like, why am I so stupid? Why didn't I see that coming? I should have looked first. I should have paid more attention. I should have expected that. I started like talking to myself inside my head, saying, I should have known better. I shouldn't have expected everyone to be nice to me. I shouldn't have just stood there thinking that someone wasn't going to think I was a fucking asshole and then look at me like I'm a piece of crap. I don't want to carry that around with me. It really bothers me, when someone looks at me like I'm a piece of garbage and they look right into my eyes and I'm just standing there lifting weights, not bothering anyone. And just because I'm in the street, because I don't want to accidentally hit someone's car with the weights. And he's like not paying any attention to what he's doing. And it bothered me. And then my brother came out of nowhere. I was standing in the streets like maybe 10 minutes later trying to figure out why that bothered me so much. And I was standing where the car went by, and I was looking back to where I was standing, and I was saying, why is he looking at me? I'm not, what the fuck? And okay, so then my brother all of a sudden pops out of nowhere, and he's hiding behind a tree, and he's smirking. He hates me, by the way. He's holding a book in front of his face, or a bag, and then he's hiding, smirking, 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 hiding, smirking. But the key point is he's not saying anything to me. Okay? Not that he has to. That's how he abuses me. He never says anything to me. I can go on a car ride with him from here to California and back. He'll have a text message. He won't say anything to me. That's how he abuses me, because he thinks I'm garbage. And so I told him what was bothering me. I said, this car went by. You think you're... Okay, so what's my storyline? This is my storyline. Don't open up to a narcissist, because it'll only make you feel worse, and they won't help you. Okay, that's what I'm talking about right now. Every time I talk about a narcissist, there's going to be a story attached to it, and only one lesson. Don't open up to a narcissistic person. Don't open up to a person who's narcissistic. I'm sure you know what narcissistic is, and if you don't, look it up. It's just a term, like a dictionary term. Just look it up, because all the stuff on YouTube doesn't really go into details of events. It tells you what a narcissistic person is, but it doesn't tell you daily stories. Do not open up to a narcissistic person when something is bothering you, because you are expected them to help you with it. When you say something to another human being, you think, now, I don't want them to say, oh, don't feel bad. I don't want to hear that. But I'm just like, I'm thinking, why are you sitting there while I'm trying to figure something out? The only thing you're doing is making it worse. So I was basically saying to him what was happening, because I wanted him to leave me alone. I'm like saying, this is what was happening. This is why I'm standing here. You know what my brother says to me? He goes like this, like I told you. You know that show, King of Queens? Now remember, I told you a few things. He's not going to use words. He's not going to say anything, but he is going to say the same thing, the same thing, the same thing of how he abuses me. First thing he goes is, huh, which is an imitation of that guy from that TV show, King of Queens. Like I said, people with narcissistic disorders have borderline disorder. So he's not himself. He doesn't, he's just imitating someone else's personality. And then he switches the topic to, which is what narcissistic people do, to himself. Huh, so now I can't park my car here anymore. Oh, I forgot, he's Boo-Boo. Remember I told you he was Boo-Boo? Oh, now I can't park my car here anymore, Yogi Bear, because I'm like, why not? Because someone's going to scratch it. And then he makes his weird head gesture, like as if I know what he's talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, you fucking psychopath. You remind me of, that fucking murder guy. He reminds me, I know you think I look like him, but no, I'm not. He reminds me of that guy, Charles Manson. He's out of his fucking mind. I'm telling him some little tiny story of somebody drove by and glanced at me, and he's talking about, so now this guy that has never met my brother before, doesn't know what my brother's car looks like, has nothing to do with my brother. The story has nothing to do with my brother. The story is just about something that bothered me. This is just something I'm sharing. And my brother's a narcissistic, hateful person, and he hates me and he wants me to die. And I share the story with a narcissistic, hateful person who wants me to die. And he switches the topic into, So now this guy's gonna come and scratch his car up. Huh? Thanks a lot. And what's the next thing you think he does? He, I mean, I'm sure that you guys know about the categories of what narcissistic hate is. Narcissistic. What's the next thing they do to control you in the narcissistic non-relationship? Let's call it a narcissistic non-relationship. What's the next thing they do? Reckless. What's the? I don't even know what the correct term is. Is it reckless abandonment, or it's called with something with a D? It's called um when they abandon you. Um, oh yeah, it's called discard. They discard you. So if you're in a relationship with a narcissistic, I'm not stuttering this. I ate some pistachios and it's stuck in my mouth. If you're in a relationship with a narcissistic, hateful person, then what are they going to do to you? They're not going to help you. They don't love you. They don't care about you. They care about themselves. They only care about themselves, and so they're going to control you by discarding you and throwing you into the pig heap of what the pigs eat and throw you in the garbage. So don't. You can have a conversation with a normal person about that topic, like I'm telling you, and I'm not getting any feedback, which I don't want any feedback, because it doesn't bother me anymore. The solution I had for that thing that happened to me, because I know you're all thinking, what was the solution? I must be fried. I must be going out of my mind. I'll tell you what the solution was for me. I went back there like 2 or 3 times, and I worked out again yesterday in the same spot. I didn't get into any kind of conversations with anyone. And then I worked out again today in the same area, and I just moved my spot over a few cars, and I do that every day. And to me, it's not really much of an exercise. I just like standing outside for a while, getting some fresh air. I'm about to go out and walk around and feed the stray cats. It's midnight, and put in about a mile and barely over a mile. I like to keep the blood flow moving in my legs, and I don't know, I have to use weights or something maybe to walk with soon, because it's not doing anything for my leg muscles at all, but it is helpful to loosen up my legs. So anyway, as I'm talking to you, the reason I'm moving is because I'm shaking my legs there. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going like this because I'm trying to get my legs moving. And so I used to work out a lot, and I'm the kind of guy that likes road trips, and I like to go around America. I used to drive a Greyhound bus and travel a lot, and I get really mentally sick if I'm not traveling. I'm not the kind of guy that likes to stay put. I don't like people talking down on me or whatever. I'm sort of more into hippie stuff, and I like vegan stuff, but I have to eat turkey and chicken because some of those, things, you can't eat a lot of cheese. It's not good for you. And if I can't eat bread, how am I supposed to get protein? And some of the veggie burgers contain just way too much oxalates with the beans in it, or if it has any type of bread in it, it messes up my muscles, my leg muscles. And then even if I eat potatoes are not processed. So the way that I make potatoes, if you saw my videos, if I'm not explaining it correctly, is I try to I put them in, if you buy the small ones, they cook faster in the microwave. When I say nuke them, try to soften them in the microwave first, and then don't spend too much time in one procedure when you're cooking potatoes. If I put them in a microwave, I won't overdo it. I'll do it for like 3 minutes. And if I have to do it twice, that's already way too much. I'll move on to another process, which, okay, if the potatoes are russet and they're hard, I might stick them in the boiling water for 10 minutes, but I won't go crazy. I don't want them to be in the water too long, because if they're boiling too much in the water, it's going to take out all the vitamins and stuff. I don't want to overdo anything. And if I put them in the frying pan, I'm going to chop it up a lot, because I don't want them in the frying pan too much, because if you cook something too much, you kill it. You kill all the nutrients. And so when I make something, when I cook potatoes, I don't put them in one process for too long. So if you see me chopping a lot on the potato, it's because I'm trying to expose all the elements of the potato to the heat so that I don't have to cook it too long. And I'm not trying to show off or anything or show you any kind of cooking technique. I'm only chopping it up and it just looks like that. I'm not trying to be cool or anything like that. I'm just trying to chop up the potato, and the reason it looks like that is because it's one of those non-stick pans, and I'm trying not to scratch the pan by not hitting the pan with metal. If I'm using a metal spatula, the reason it looks like that is because I'm trying not to hit the, I'm not hitting the non-stick surface because that's dangerous to eat. And the reason it looks like I'm, chopping a lot, whatever, isn't trying to be cool. I'm just trying to not scratch the pan. I use a rubber. Sometimes I use a rubber one. That's bad because then sometimes it pushes the potatoes out of the pan. So if I use a super skinny spatula, and then go straight down, it doesn't knock the potatoes out of the pan. So it looks like I'm chopping a lot, but I'm not. I'm actually focusing on not knocking anything out of the pan. And you'll see sometimes I'm using an ice cream spoon, in case you don't know what that is. It's a 1960s sterling silver plated. It's a 1960s ice cream spoon that's plated sterling silver. It's like the only ice cream spoon I have, and it's a long handle one, so it keeps my hand away from the heat, and it has a very small spoon. And you'll see I use that a lot for chopping because I like to do weird things like that. And I'm using a small egg pan because I'm pretending like when I used to go on my road trips, and I always used to eat. This is something you don't see me cooking. I always used to cook when I was a vegan. I used to be super skinny. I used to wear an extra small t-shirt, and the health food stores used to want me to work there because I was so skinny. And I used to work out a lot with martial arts because I was picked on a lot. And so, I used to do a lot of cooking with a Coleman stove, when you go camping. And I always used to like enjoy going to the supermarket, and they don't have this anymore. But in the health food stores, they used to always have, well, at least out west in Oregon and San Francisco, they used to have kasha. I don't know, they changed the name of it to buckwheat, but they used to call it kasha, and it doesn't have gluten in it. And then I used to only eat kasha, and I used to always like get one vegetable, and a lot of times it was a canned vegetable or whatever. So I would go to like a health food store, cook the kasha, and then I don't know which vegetable. I always had a dog with me. I was living like out of my car. I had like a muscle car. I'd travel around, sleep in the car, and then I've done that for years. In case you want to know why I'm so weird, I was like a runaway. But so then I would eat kasha, and I would sleep in weird places. Like one of the places I liked sleeping at in San Francisco was near one of those, those places where people who are travelers, students from other countries would travel, and they would go to one of those places where they can all share a room. I hated that so much. I would pay for the room where you share with 6 other people, and I'd say, no fucking way am I sleeping with you assholes. And I would sleep in my car, and I would just back then it was $10, and I would just pay for the room $10 a night plus tax, and I would pay for the room, and then I would just use the shower. I felt very vulnerable in the room with other people. It's just weird. And they they had like bunk beds and college. I was the right age for it, and I was young, but I just didn't like the essence of, I don't know. It was cool. They had I tried it all. Sitting in the front lobby, reading a magazine, the little lamp, the little library. I hated it all. I liked hanging out with college girls, but I hated the whole rest of it. And then I just go back. People would hang out with me while I was cooking. I don't care. And then I would just I like sleeping out in my car. When I used to hang out in Death Valley, I went there once with some guy who was pretty cool, who spent the rest of his life traveling around America. And I used to sleep on the roof of the car. I know, does that sound stupid? There's scorpions on the ground. He tried to talk me into sleeping on the ground, and the first night, I was bothered by scorpions. I just started sleeping on the roof. And then, that's in Death Valley. So, what did I see when I was sleeping on the roof? It's not the kind of life you have in New York City. You lay back on the roof of your car in the middle of the night in the desert, and you see every planet and every star, and constantly, you see another shooting star, another shooting star, another shooting star. You see satellites going by. You see airplanes. You see big stars, small stars. It's almost like it's a waste of time being in this city because you miss all that action. And we constantly were like looking for cool things in the desert, but you couldn't go to them all because it's dangerous in the desert. They have signs in the desert that say, please do not walk out into the desert thinking that you can handle it. You will dehydrate very fast. And they show you a list of many people that have died thinking they can just wander off. And even when you wander off for like a mile, you turn around, you feel like, oh my God, I'm going to die. You know, it's dangerous. But if you stay near the roads, it's not as bad. And if you park off the road and you're, hopefully you have a car that's good, you're not as bad. And Death Valley is near Las Vegas. They may just have a Las Vegas shooter. And then Death Valley is near Las Vegas. Anyway, so, okay, so that's how my mind drifts apart. When I start feeling pressure from the city, my mind drifts to road trips. So what did I tell you originally? When people pick on me, I used to run away. Yeah, I used to always go to the woods and go upstate New York or travel on my bicycle and go as far as I can until I got to some woods and I'd sleep in a tent. My father used to yell at me a lot. I used to get on my bicycle and I used to go places. I used to get on the short line bus. Do they still have short line buses? I used to go to Cold Springs. I used to go to Bear Mountains. I used to sleep in Bear Mountains. The stupidest thing I ever did in my life was when I drove my motorcycle up to the Catskills and I slept next to a haunted hotel on the outside. Why did I do that? I don't know. I think because I was too lazy to go down to Echo Lake, and I got to the top of the mountain and I wanted to go home after, and I didn't want to keep going to Echo Lake because I didn't want to be at the lake alone because I felt lonely, and I didn't want to go to the lake where people were thinking, oh, he must be having fun. No, I wasn't. He must be having fun at the lake. No, I wasn't. He must be running. He must be like, people might be in the lean-to. And I just wanted to wake up when the sun came out and leave. And there was a long motorcycle ride. And I remember someone was following me on the way up. And I kept stopping on the side of the road. And he kept stopping with me. And he was in the car. And I was trying to lose him, and I'm not the kind of guy that likes to drive fast. And he was driving a big motorcycle, like 1100, like a cruiser, and he kept tailgating me, and I couldn't lose him. And he was making me go like 80, 90 miles an hour on an old vintage bike in the 70s. And I was going to run out of gas because the bike was eating too much. Well, at the time it was running out of gas. And then I couldn't lose him. And every time I stopped at a toll, and I would pull over after to lose him, and he wouldn't leave me alone. So I think I started telling the police that he was bothering me, because every time I started to go, he would get behind me and tailgate me. And so there was that, and the other one I was going to tell you about was when I used to use a cane. Is because one time I went to Bear Mountains and I did something really stupid. I put my backpack on the trail and I hid it and I buried it in the leaves because I thought I was going to come back that way. And it was really stupid because I ended up getting lost in the woods because there was no moon that night. Like just coming back at night, and when you don't have a moon and you don't have a flashlight, you can't see the trail. And there was a lot of woods. Even though it's like November, I couldn't see the trail, and I thought I would be able to, but I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. But look up no moon. That's when it's pitch black. So I couldn't find the trail, so I ended up walking in a straight direction, and I came out way down um, the road like a mile, and I walked a mile down the road. I had to walk. This is the scary part. I remember where I came out. I came out where a place where there was like an ambulance company. You can look this up. Seven Lakes Drive. Something about an ambulance company in Sloatsburg. I don't even know what that is. Look up ambulance company in Sloatsburg. It's a very small road right off the main road 17, and then the Seven Lakes Drive, and you make a right. You're heading towards Bear Mountain. It's a kind of weird, small, little, tiny ambulance company, and I came out over there, which was a mile from my car. No, a mile from my bike, and I had to go back into the woods with no flashlight to find my backpack where my keys and all my stuff are in the dark. But while I was lost in the woods, I fell and my leg got stuck between two boulders, and I twisted my ankle so bad that I ended up needing a cane for the next 3 years. So I used to use a cane when I was in college. I hurt my leg so bad, and my muscle in my ankle was swollen so much. And anyway, you see how my mind drifts off from narcissistic hate to that? Because that's who I am. I'm a person who enjoys that. Traveling, getting away from these types of situations, being in nature, enjoying hiking, studying the leaves of the plants. I used to always say the plants are my friends. And the more plants that I know what they are and the purpose that they are, the more friends that I have. And I had the Peterson's Guide, but now you can use Google Lens. And I used to know how to use the plants like the American Indians. And that's why I know about witchcraft, because I know about plants and which are the ones, besides poison ivy, the ones that can help you cure poison ivy or this or that or what's edible. I mostly studied edible plants, but what's the purpose of the video? What bothers me the most? What makes me make the video? Narcissistic hate. Narcissistic hate is, all I'm saying to all of you is, if you're in a relationship where you're not in a relationship, you owe it to yourself to find a relationship. Because if you're with someone who hates you, it's not a relationship, and it's ruining your life. And it doesn't matter if it's a spouse, it could be a friend or a brother. And when you take their crap, it ruins your life. It cripples you. It cripples the hell out of you. It cripples your ability to think. It cripples your ability to care about yourself. It cripples your ability to want to exercise, to want to be skinny. It doesn't cripple them because they're the ones picking on you. They enjoy it. It cripples your ability to care about how you look. It cripples your ability. They steal away your personality. They stop you from being able to communicate with others. They make you feel bad that you want to die. You want to kill yourself. They just like, it's really bad. You don't want to go outside, and if you do go outside, you keep thinking that you might see them, and you won't know how to react to them because they hate you. They don't have any reaction to you. Their only reaction to you is to see if you know that they hate you. It's just bad. It's just bad. It's like a like a multi-layered cake of hate. When you're with friends, people don't come up with these stupid things. Like it's not normal to say, "Shut the fuck up," close the door, and then drive off real fast. Who does that? Who speaks to you like that? It's like a normal person. You're saying, "All right, man, I'll see you later." All right, you want to go get some beer? You want to drink something? You want to go hiking? You want to go to Bear Mountain? You want to go to the beach? It's summertime. Let's go to Jones Beach. You want to take a ride? You want to have a barbecue? What do you want to do? You want to have a veggie burger? There's so many things in life you could say. That's the thing about a narcissist. When you live your life with a narcissist, they steal all that away from you, all those moments and places you can go, and all those things, all the millions of things that you can have. You want to go to Fire Island? You want to take a trip upstate New York? You want to take a quick trip to the Catskills? Let's check out. You can't go anywhere with them. Every place they go with you, they're just going to parade you and hate you in front of everyone. You're going to be on the phone texting someone else because you're meaningless garbage to them. And you're going to sit there like an idiot, and everything you do is going to be wrong. And no matter how bad you try to get along with them, so I'm just saying, not to me, I'm not saying it to me, I'm not talking about myself or asking you for any kind of help. Make sure that you, for yourself, if you owe it to yourself to not have this, to find a relationship and not allow people to treat you that way, because it's just going to destroy your life. My brother was trying to make a situation where we were going to move someplace together and we share a house together and move out of New York City. And he's so fucking hateful. The only thing he can say to me is this: "Where would you like to live?" And then I say, "Well, I don't know. Some of the cheapest places to live would probably be like Iowa." Oh, and then right away he starts yelling at me. "I wasn't asking you what the fucking cheapest places to live. I wasn't asking you that." He's like, "Wow, what do I need? I need your permission to say whatever the fuck I want to say." That's how sick they are. Oh, really? Oh, like they shut you down. They make you shut up. If you're with a narcissist, they make you shut up. Like, who the fuck would want to live with you? It's like, you ask me a fucking stupid question. Where would you want to, don't forget I'm making that voice because he's boo-boo. Where would you want to live? If you can live anywhere in America, where would you want to live? Anywhere where you don't exist. I'm not sarcastic. I say, where would you want to live? So what is he asking me? He's asking me to be honest. He can make me, so he can destroy my memory. I know the answers to that question, but when someone's narcissistic, they brainwash you. So one of the reasons a narcissistic person will ask you that is to destroy your mind so that you can't think of anything. And then he would always say to me, "I found a place I know the area. I'm just thinking of the name. Above the Catskills. What is that called? The Appalachians." "I found a place in the Appalachians." "Oh, really?" The Appalachians is like 300 miles from New York City. Why the fuck would I said, there's a lot of dangerous people in the Appalachians. They're nice, but they don't like outsiders. And then, so he doesn't know that. There's a whole community up there that hates New Yorkers. And then, and they're called hillbillies. I mean, he's not educated. And this is not even educated. This is like knowing about the woods. And then, he told me he found a place up near Saratoga, and he asked me if I'd ever been up there. Duh. That's where Saratoga is the main bus stop. Used to be the main bus stop until around 1991, and they got rid of the Saratoga stop, and they changed it to Albany as a rest stop for food. Well, yeah, Saratoga is one of the main stops on the Greyhound bus. Duh. Have you ever been up there? Yeah, it's a summertime village for New Yorkers. since like before like the 1800s. You know, duh. Have you ever been up there? Yeah, I used to ride a Greyhound. Duh. You know. He asked me if I know about that town. Yeah, I used to go there twice a day. Duh. You know. And that's conversation. Have you ever been up there? Does that sound like a good conversation to you? Okay, so then no pics of the house, no information, nothing. And then um that line is a narcissistic hate line. When you're in conversation with an asshole who's narcissistic, and their answer is, I wasn't asking you that. That's just common stuff. So anyway, see how I keep switching back from good times, bad times, good times, bad times, good times, bad times, wilderness, Greyhound, and then someone picks on me. Whenever I mention the part where someone picks on me, not only do I feel the pain and the hate, but I feel it from you too. That it's very distraught. I feel it from you. I can feel it. That you're thinking I'm repetitive. That you're thinking that it's very like, why do I keep talking about it? Maybe I am a narcissist. No, I'm not. When somebody feeds you this stuff, it destroys your mind. You might end up eating Domino's pizza, right, to escape it. You might end up eating a little ice cream. You might end up feeling bored the way you feel. I might not be giving you the correct advice. Like when you go on a road trip, do you know that it's important to carry water with you so you can throw it over your head if you're in the middle of the desert? Otherwise, you might die. Do you know that? That when you go on, and you know what you're doing when you're traveling in the desert, you're supposed to carry like at least like I used to carry like I don't know how much, a 50-gallon container, a military container of water. It looks like a gas container, but it's not. It's actually a water container. You see them on the back of Jeeps. Do you know that you're supposed to carry that when you go through the desert? You know, I'm trying to break you out of my my stupid glitch where I'm talking about, you know, that line that I got stuck on when someone says to you, I wasn't asking you that. You know, that's my line. The reason I'm getting stuck on it is because he stole my line from me and he was using it against me. Like, I used to say that to my sister, and for somehow I don't know how she must have told him about my line, and I used to always say that to my sister when she used to say things to me, and I used to say that she would just start like saying, you know, you shouldn't eat gluten, it's bad for you, and I would say I wasn't asking you about gluten, and then she probably told him that I was an asshole, and I said that to her. So now he's trying to get me back, you know, like vengeance. So whenever I speak, he would just randomly say to me, I wasn't asking you that. But like, he's so hateful towards me. Like my sister would start talking about, oh, you shouldn't eat bread. Or she'll say, I don't know what she'll say. And I would say, well, I wasn't asking you. You know, she'd just go on and on and on and on and on. And I would say I wasn't asking you. And then she would tell my brother that I said that. And then my brother hates me. And he would say to me, he would ask me a question, where would you want to live? And I would say, Iowa is cool, it's cheap. He would go, I wasn't asking you about which place is cheap. Okay, so anyway, I hope that for you people out there that are in a relationship with a narcissistic person, you find someone else who's not narcissistic, whether it's even someone on Facebook Marketplace videos, or that's what got me to break out of not telling anyone stuff. I seen this woman on the video, and she was telling me about how bad her life is because she got dumped by her husband and her daughter. And when I was listening to what she was saying, she must have been around, I mean, she's still alive, like 43 years old, and which isn't that much younger than me. I mean, about 17 years. So, anyway, she looks hot. She's very sick. She has a shaking disorder, and she's into like the same types of music I'm into. She mentions like Syd Barrett and certain things that are more relaxing to her, and she also notices that some music makes her feel very anxiety, same like I am. And then she talks about people that mistreat her. Like, you don't know this about me, but even though I pay child support and I used to visit my son all the time, I was having a lot of trouble with my vehicle breaking down when I was going up to see him, and it kept breaking down, and I wasn't able to always go up. And then I don't know what happened, the rest of that story, because I'm divorced. All of a sudden, I bought him a guitar, and I was going to try to come up to see him, and then I got this other crappy vehicle. Now my vehicle's okay and they run, but at the time, about 10 years ago, I had to redo that vehicle that kept breaking down because I fixed it, and then it wouldn't pass the emissions, and then I got another one, and then I don't know, and then all of a sudden they just didn't want to see me anymore because that's how divorces are. And then, so my brother's an uncle. He doesn't spend any time trying to figure out how to be an uncle. And my brother's a brother. He doesn't spend any time trying to figure out how to be my brother. He just spends a lot of time trying to be, like, to hate me, you know? So, you're married and you think your husband's trying to spend a lot of time trying to be nice to you? Why don't you rethink it and wonder to yourself if the reality of the situation is that he's treating you like shit, that he's actually spending a lot of time trying to treat you like shit in his mind, and he doesn't treat everyone like shit, just you. Okay? So, I hope that even if you don't find another person who's nice to you, that you find other things you like to do, or you find a reason to call the cops on them, or find a situation where they can't keep abusing you. And one of the things is to call the cops on someone. Or two is to I notice that narcissistic people steal a lot. And you don't want to call the cops on your husband when he can't support you anymore. He's going to lose his job. But I notice that narcissistic people try to make you look like you steal when they steal. Or they try to make you look like you don't get along with people when they're just doing that for you. And they try to make themselves into like somebody who gets along with everyone. And they're making you not able to. So definitely do this. Have secret relationships, whether it's friendships or whatever it is, and don't be ashamed. Go out there and find someone else who cares about you. And don't be in a situation that's dangerous where they get jealous and they want to kill you. Just get into a situation where you find people that care about you. And if you're in a bad situation with a relationship with someone who's really bad, consider calling the police on them and telling them that you're scared. Because I was recently in so many bad roommate situations where I had someone who was punching me and hitting me. It was a girl, so I couldn't hit her back. And hitting me and breaking bottles over my head and not paying rent and squatting and the guy I used to hang around with, he died from a heroin overdose because I don't know why. And then I don't take heroin, but I couldn't always hang out with him because he was being crazy. And then I had lost my job working in a shop, and recently they've been trying to get me back again because I never did anything wrong, and just don't have like state-of-the-art equipment. And then just try to get yourself into, if you're in a narcissistic relationship, don't try to fix that. Just get the hell away from that. Cannot fix it. People who are narcissistic are about one thing: money. How much money you make, how much money they have to spend on you, how much money they have, and for some reason, I don't know why. Let's say you're a really sexy looking girl. They'll only be happy with you while you're a sexy looking girl. And God forbid you gain weight or you get old, and you start to look around. Try to find yourself something that's not narcissistic. And I remember that girl Mia that I was dating. When she was being mean to me, it destroyed me. Was she narcissistic? I don't know. But I remember when she started sleeping with someone else and she started being mean to me. She wasn't a mean person, but I went to Sweden to visit her. And she was already like hanging out with another guy from France. Things were bad. I just didn't know. But anyway, that's the big thing. Because put it this way: somebody is narcissistic and hates you. Let's see whether I'm like a wild person, as you noted. I like to go outside. Okay, what am I gonna say next? Narcissistic person will control you in a way that is bad for your mind, for your health, for your soul, for who you are. And my brother tries to like control me by keeping me from going outside even and saying stupid things to me like sleep like a bear. What the fuck does that even mean? What are you, a fucking asshole? Do I look like a bear? What are you, fucking retarded? Um, I'm nocturnal. I'm a nocturnal being. I used to only eat at night. I wake up at night. People call me a vampire because I can't sleep in the daytime. I used to drive taxis at night when I was younger, in my 20s. Always in my early 20s. I used to only drive at night. I used to always come home at 6 a.m. I used to drive Greyhounds in the graveyard shift. I used to drive private taxis in the graveyard shift. When I tow motorcycles, I always tow bikes when all the cars are gone, so there's less traffic. When I go upstate camping, I leave at 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't let people control you. And my brother even tried to control me there and talk to me like an asshole, like he's an asshole, like sleep like a bear, like as if I'm going to sleep at 10 p.m. or 11. What a fucking asshole. And then call me in the morning. This is like how they control you. And then call me in the morning like 7 or 8 as if I just woke up. Go fuck yourself. I go to sleep at 7 a.m. and I'm up all night long because I'm, nocturnal. And it's normal for me to see alley cats because they're nocturnal. So are the rats, by the way, the New York City rats. And these fucking raccoons out there and fucking skunks. I see tons of fucking rats, big fucking New York City rats. And then they're not even scared of me. You know what a funny story is before I go? One time I found a whole bag of trail mix, like an expensive bag, like a high-end product. And I always look for like chicken and stuff in the garbage because the cats don't like the Friskies that I buy. They always cross my fingers and hope I find chicken bones and stuff, leftover chicken in a tray. I always hate looking, but for them, for the cats, I'll do it so that they don't starve. So then the Friskies I'll carry with me in case they really want something. I'd rather give them that than nothing. So then one time I wanted to feed the birds. And obviously birds like bread. They don't really like rice. They might eat dry noodles. But they're not going to eat cashews and pecans and all that crap that I found. Brand new when someone threw it out. So I put it down by a tree. And these animals keep an eye on who puts out food. Cats won't just eat food that anyone feeds them. They'll only eat it if they think they trust you and if they know you And if they think you're in their family, or if they think they found it randomly, they won't eat it if you fucking feed them. Think you're gonna try to kill them. That's why I don't tell you where the cats are. But I don't want you to feed them because I don't, I don't trust anyone. All my videos, I say stupid things. That's not where the cats are. They're not even gonna like hang out. They don't even come close to me. I don't trust anyone. So anyway, um, I put down this raisin mix, trail mix, by a tree, thinking, oh, the pigeons will find it. And then, like a few days later, the fucking rats must have been like having some kind of like a rat party because it was a lot of fucking trail mix. I mean, it was weird stuff. Prunes. It was a high-end product, like Wegmans or something like that. And there was like prunes and plums and figs and dates and pecans and filberts. Isn't filbert hazelnut? And coconut things covered with dates covered with coconuts and sunflower seeds, peanuts. And I don't eat stuff I find in the garbage. That's stupid. And then I put it by a tree. What's my story plan? The fucking rat, like a few days later, even my brother saw it when he was giving me a ride. He came out of the car in the daytime and he did a little happy rat dance to say thank you to me. Because somehow he knew I put it there. And the rat did it twice. And he would pick up like a raisin. And he was so happy. And you know, everyone's afraid of New York City rats. And this fucking rat, I've seen him 1,000 times at night. And he fucking sees me in the daytime. And he grabs a raisin. And he does this happy rat dance in front of me while he's looking at me like, oh, thanks for the raisin. And I'm thinking, that's really weird. You're a lot more polite than half the people I know. And now I'm gonna go.